I'll write that on the screen. Surat Al-Munafiqun. Surah Al-Munafiqun. Okay, that's the surah that I would like all of you to try to memorize.
Okay.
You have a month to do it, so that's quite a bit of time. No, إذا جاءك المنافقون.
Is it long?
Huh? It's about a page.
Okay.
It's a single page.
Okay.
So you guys got about a month, maybe even 6 weeks to do it. But what we're going to do now, when we're done with Sarf and we go back to the textbook, is every day we're going to actually take an ayah of Surah Al-Munafiqun, and everything we learned, we're going to see it in action in this surah. And so by the end, when we're done with this surah, you're going to know the surah by heart. You're going to know all the grammar that you learned with me, not just in theory, but inside of that surah. So what's the point of that? By the end of that, you know one surah, and you know all the Arabic you learned applied on that surah. So one portion of the Quran is actually something you know in terms of the Arabic that you've learned. Right? So you're not just, because right now in exercises, there's an example from over here, there's an example from over there, and they're all over, right? But now we got to start building our Quran base, right? And the best way to do that, and that's, some students ask me, how am I going to build vocabulary? This is how. You're going to study the surahs with me. You're going to go through the Arabic of the surahs with me. And one thing I would like, I can't make it mandatory on you to do this. I would like for you to do it. If you love learning with me, and if you want me to think of you as a good person, then you'll do this over the next month on Bayyinah TV. There's a section on deeper look. So in the Quran studies, there's a translation of the Quran, which is brief, and then there's a deeper look study. Okay, and in the deeper look, I've given lecture on Surah Al-Munafiqun, which took me it's a page-long surah, but it took me about 10 hours, I think it was, 10 or 8 hours to teach.
Compared to this course, we've done more than 10 hours.
Right, but I don't want you to take notes on it. I just want you to kind of casually listen to it. So you know what's going, you learn something about the surah, you're memorizing the surah, and you're learning the Arabic of the surah with me, right? So you're hitting it from 3 ways: memorization, Arabic, and then the tafsir of it, right? So you've got all 3 hitting you at the same time. And what that does is you have something tangible. You can say after that, well, you know what? I know one surah pretty well. I know a decent amount about this one surah, right? And then inshallah, from there, it'll become 2 surahs. And from there, it'll become 3 surahs, etc., etc. My goal for all of you, ideally, is by the time we're done studying the Arabic, you've memorized with me at least 1 juz, or maybe even more. But we'll pick a surah, we'll pick a passage, and we'll do that. So instead of just saying, oh, memorize all of 30th juz or something, and some of you have already done that, and some of you just know the short surahs and things like that. Some short surahs will be there. But I'm going to start giving you passages from different parts of the Quran that I think are really beneficial for your Arabic studies and also for your Quran studies. So let me talk about Quran studies for a moment for both of you so you understand what I'm doing here. So one of the things that I really benefited from with my teacher, Dr. Abdul Sami, was instead of going through the entire Quran, I did hear the entire Quran from him, like the explanation of it in brief, but then he kind of made me memorize, I think it was about 25 different places in the Quran, not entire surahs, sometimes entire surahs, sometimes just, you can think of it as a passage or a paragraph, right? And it was this curriculum of different pieces of Quran. And what it does is, if you think of Quran like a building, then those were kind of like pillars in the building. And the thing that holds the building together is the pillars, right? So if you understand these few passages, then everything around them starts making sense. You start making sense of the Quran as a book. And then when you study it beginning to end, you have this kind of architecture in your head already of what are the main subjects in the Quran, how are they talked about, and things like that. So similar approach is what I'm going to take with you guys. You're gonna study the Arabic of it. You're going to study the meanings of it. The meanings of it, of course, are in the Bayyinah TV lectures. So I won't take time to do that because I put a lot of work into giving those lectures. And I actually intended to do that for people like yourself, people that are going to study the Arabic with me, people that are going to put in the time and try and memorize it. And now they have a way of contemplating on it more deeply. Eventually, what's going to happen, inshallah, what's my vision for you a year from now? A year from now, we come back to Surah Al-Munafiqun. You've already heard me talk about it. And we're going to open up Ibn Ashur and read Surah Al-Munafiqun from a scholar that, wrote about the surah. And you're going to read it and you're going to translate it for me. I'll give you translation assignments. So you'll read the Arabic text of, a tafsir, and you're going to tell me what the mufassir is saying,
Yeah.
right? And then the goal after that, once you get good enough to read, is then we'll actually start doing discussions. We'll actually, the platform, whether it's social media or it's on Bayna TV, the platform is going to start being used for us to say, hey, let's study Quran together. So everybody read your favorite tafsir of this ayah and bring your contemplations, reflections, questions, and let's discuss it together. So that's where we want to get to as a world, because you guys are all over the world, really. We're engaging in worldwide Quran conversation, which is, to me, that's the ultimate dream, actually. That yatadarasunahu bainahum, right? In a real sense, we're contemplating Allah's word with each other. So I'm really, really excited about what's coming ahead of us, because again, this is not an Arabic course. This is us connecting to the Quran in a very meaningful, significant, deep kind of way, inshallah ta'ala. Okay.